So that's about the structure of a data frame. There is another function I would like you to learn, and that would be summary. Summary is as useful as structure itself. What this gives out is a summary of each individual column of this data frame. So for A, we have the minimum, maximum, and between minimum and max we have the first quartile, median, mean, and third quartile. What I mean by first quartile is it represents the value below which 25% of all values of that specific column lies. Likewise, median, that is 2.5, below 2.5, 50% of all the values of A will be below that number, and third quartile is 75% of A lies below 3.25. It also throws the number of missing values in each of these columns. If we have a look at RDF, we will find like 3 missing values in the first 4 columns. Now let's see how to get the names, that is the column and the row names of this data frame. The command word to do that is names RDF. By default it gives the column names, and if you specifically want the column names, that's a more specific way to get it. That is call names of RDF will give call names, and row names of RDF gives us the row names. Here in this case it is 1 to 15, the characters, not numbers. So that's how we get it. Suppose if we want to assign different names, we can directly assign to this function itself. So I'm going to use A1, running it. Now call names of RDF will contain all this. Looking at RDF, these are replaced now. Now we will see how to view a data frame in an Excel spreadsheet kind of a view. Now the data frame we have here, that is RDF, has only 15 rows. Suppose if we have like 50,000 rows or even more than that, it will be kind of difficult to view that data frame in this R console itself. So for those cases we have the command called view with a capital V, and I run this. RStudio opens a new window here that feels somewhat like an Excel spreadsheet. If there are more columns below, you can scroll it down as well. This function is only available in RStudio. Suppose if you are using base R as your working program, use the command called fix and do RDF. It will open a new window in your R console, and that would be somewhat similar to the Excel spreadsheet version. So this is how it looks on a Mac. If you are using Windows, you will get a different screen, but the purpose would be essentially the same. Let me close this out. Now, how to transpose a data frame? That is, I want to convert the rows into columns and columns into rows. Do a flip. So the command to do that is T of RDF is going to transpose this. Let me store it in TRDF. So when we transpose it, the matrix is created. That is, a data frame is converted to a matrix. Why? Because in case our data frame had columns with different classes, on transposing it, those columns will become rows, and the resulting object will contain rows with different classes. That is not allowable in a data frame itself. So in order to avoid that conflict, the data frame becomes converted to a matrix. Now in this case, all of our rows were numeric, so there should not be any problem in our case. So to convert it back to a data frame, we can do as.data.frame and TRDF. It looks somewhat similar, but the class should be a data frame. Oops, it's TRDF2, right? Let me clear the screen. Let's see how to remove rows that contains missing values in a data frame. Most of the rows have NAs. If I want to remove those rows, the function na.omit is very convenient. Now RDF underscore n should contain only those 3 rows. Let's see how to access different elements within this data frame. That is, how to pick certain elements within this data frame. Clearing the screen, printing RDF again. Say I want the 4th row of RDF, I would do open the square brackets. Now a data frame is a two-dimensional object, which means it contains rows as well as columns. Now I want to select a certain row and a certain column, means here in this case I want the fourth row and the second argument stands for the columns. Now in this case, if I do this, it will give all the elements within the fourth row. If I want the first element in fourth row, that is the number 4, I can write something like this and it will return 4. If I want that NA which lies in the second column, I will do this. Now if I want to select multiple rows 4 and 5 and all the columns in those rows 4 and 5 and all the columns are included. If I want multiple, say I want the second, third and fifth column. Now I will show you another way to subset data frames. Remember when we saw the structure of a data frame using the str command, there was a small $sign in the beginning of each of these columns. So that indicates we can use that sign to subset the specific columns itself. Say I want the first column which has the name A1. I can use the $sign after the name of the data frame to get that column alone. Similarly, I can get A2, it's B1, then C1 and so on.